In 2007, the DCSF carried out a major piece of qualitative research on pupil progression, asking Key Stage 2 and 3 pupils who were not achieving their potential what they thought was holding them back.
Mainly, they're pupils who are well behaved, they're perfectly ordinary pupils, they have good skills, but they don't get the point of education. They feel that education is something that's done to them and not something that they do for themselves.
In this programme, we look at what the research revealed about those pupils who, despite getting Level 2 in English and Maths at the end of Key Stage 1, failed to progress to Level 4 by the end of Key Stage 2. What's slowing their progress and what can be done to help them? DCSF advisor Sue Phillips was part of the research team talking to children nationally to identify common characteristics in English.
They were often very quiet, and if they did answer questions, they often answered them very quickly without really thinking about what it was they wanted to say.
Barbara Miller was part of the same research team and talked to children about mathematics.
For example, they didn't really want to work in pairs when they were doing mathematics. They didn't talk very much, they said, when they were doing mathematics.
Barham School in North London is a large multilingual and multi-ethnic primary school where around 1 in 3 pupils are at early stages of learning English as an additional language.
Because of the makeup of the children that we have at Barham, because of the children having, beginner EAL or mobility issues or whatever, that's not an acceptable reason for children not making progress. There's still a culture of high expectations for those pupils. Our whole school target is to ensure that every child makes at least 2 parts of level progress in English, Maths and Science.
0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
Lisa Dwyer delivers a maths lesson to her Year 3 class, aiming to ensure that all children are kept on track.
The children, they like to stay within their comfort zones, so if you teach them a method and they've had success with that method, then they will tend to use that method.
Most of the time I try to get my work level right, and so I keep on trying to get the right answer until I get the same answer.
When they're doing mental calculation, for example, they tend to be very based upon one method. And they tend also to be very focused on counting on or counting back, rather than using other strategies that might be more efficient and more effective for them.
Okay, if you read the learning intention together after 3, 1, 2, 3, to be able to add 1 and 2-digit numbers mentally. What kind of method do you think we're going to use? Dara?
A number line method.
Number line method, right. The number line method is the first method that we actually introduced them to. Excellent. Okay, well done. What do you think you're going to do to check your answer? Dara? You can use your fingers. Yes, as Zara's saying, she can use her fingers to check. You can also use your 100 square. What the aim is to do, we would like to move them away from using their fingers and start using things like the 100 square. But I don't want to frighten the kids away from maths where they think, oh, I can't do this. So it's to give them the encouragement to say, okay, yes, you can use your fingers now, but what else can we use?
Yeah, it's 21. 21.
Well done.
Ticks sometimes. It might our teachers might have written something. We should have neat handwriting.
And they were really quite focused on wanting to get answers right. So they'd want to do quite a lot of work in their books, but they saw success as getting a lot of ticks in the books and not getting crosses. They didn't like it if they got things wrong.
And add the 2 to make 29.
Okay, why have we got this 5 here? Are we adding on 5? No, we're adding on 4. During lessons, so the children don't always rely on getting the right answer, we use whiteboards. So that means their recording is their own recording. They'll be able to check with their partner as well. And it's also about putting hands up and things like that, so targeting questions to certain children as well.
Even if you get them wrong, you might learn from the corrections and the answers. And you might get, and next time you have that piece of work, you might get it right again.
16, well done. Should we check that? 7, come on then. If they weren't helping themselves, you'll see constant putting up hands, Miss, I don't understand, Miss, can you help me? But we've got them into the routine of working as a group, helping each other out.
Sometimes I try to do it, and if I can't do it, then I ask my partner, and if he doesn't know or she, I put my hand up, and then my teacher, she might put an example on the board. Then I do the rest by myself.
Right, what I want you to think about now is, I want you to think about the circle method and the triangular method, okay? Because it's another mental method. So in the circle method, she's got 63, and she's put the 60 at the top, she's put the 3 at the bottom. What has she done to that number? Do you remember that word beginning with P? Do you remember that word, Kendall?
Partition.
Partition, well done. So she's partitioned the number into what? Into bananas, into Smarties. What has she partitioned the number into, Raphael?
Tens and units.
Into tens and units.
One of the real barriers for them in terms of progressing in mathematics is they find it difficult to use the vocabulary, the mathematical vocabulary, and quite often they don't understand the vocabulary that perhaps their teacher is using and perhaps other children are using in the class as well.
What's that word called, what he's doing? That P word, do you remember?
Partition.
Partition in the number.
I keep this mini dictionary, and then when all the new words I have, I write it down and write the meanings, and then whenever I have difficulty, I look in that book and then I know the words.
And what would the answer be?
346.
Give him a clap, well done. Excellent.
Put your hands up and tell me, give me a few examples of things that you can include within your description to make it successful.
In Manisha Taylor's Year 6 English lesson, she's aiming for all her pupils to get a level 4 or above.
Well done, Harsha, for doing that.
Some of the children at risk of not achieving a level 4 are those children that were, let's say, in the report were identified as the invisible children, the children who may not put their hands up, the children who would sit quietly, wait for somebody else to say something. I found that is very much some of the children within my class.
What else do you need to include to make your writing successful? Viral? Use adjectives.
What all pupils need to make progress from level 2 to level 4 is clear, achievable targets that are relevant to them, personal to them, and that they know what they need to do to achieve those targets.
So you know that we're going to be describing a setting. Put your hands up at this stage. Who is a green light at understanding the things that they can include within their writing? Who's an orange light? Anybody a red light?
If they're confident in terms of what they're learning about, they will be more willing to put their hand up and say, well, actually, I do know how to do this.
What could you use within the classroom? What resource tool within the classroom can you use to help you find adjectives?
The word wall.
Well done. You can use a word wall over there. Anything else?
You can use the word mat here.
You can use, yep, everybody's got a word mat on their tables as well.
If you do provide a stimulating environment within your classroom where it is visual and interactive, and it actually promotes the children to become independent, they will become independent.
I don't really like planning because sometimes I find it hard to think of ideas and put it into one place.
In terms of writing, they might be quite good at spelling, they might have superficially good handwriting, they certainly had very good ideas, but when they tried to put it into one piece of writing, they struggled orchestrating all of those ideas together at the same time.
Sometimes I don't plan because I have ideas that I just want to write down straight.
Look on your desks. You can see here a planning frame.
Most children don't like to plan, but I think one thing that I've found is actually having a session where you teach them to plan, and then the next session would be their writing. So their writing would be informed through planning.
The flowers can smell like strawberry, peach. Yeah, strawberry. Yeah, strawberry.
When writing, it's really important also that the children are encouraged to orally rehearse before they write. Many children have great difficulty articulating what it is they want to write, and so when they put it on paper, it then makes very little sense to them when they read back.
Flowers, when we taste the flowers, different colours of ice cream came out. Wait, there is a different kind.
I think pairing is very important. Pairing them with somebody that they're comfortable with, somebody that they would also talk to, and they can feed ideas off each other. Therefore, they're less reliant on the class teacher.
I like planning because we can put our ideas on paper and we can refer back to it when we're writing our story.
What I want you to do now is write the story starter. Slowly, Dorothy opened the heavy wooden door. She stopped and gazed in front of her.
Guided writing, I think, most definitely has had a great impact in terms of pupil progress in writing. What I found is that where, if I'm targeting a group and I'm actually guiding what they are doing, they're a lot more focused. You know, they've got a lot more structure in terms of what they need to write about and what they need to include.
And then what we're going to do is look at your plans and think about how you can use the ideas from your plans in your writing. Okay?
When children had finished a piece of writing, what they often didn't want to do or were quite reluctant to do was go back and reread the piece of writing. The thought of having to go back and change something or edit it was something that they didn't want to engage with.
What I would like you to do is take some time now to do the focused marking.
Slowly is describing, so you should highlight it, isn't it? So open is also a verb, so we should highlight it. And heavy wooden door, heavy and wooden is describing the door.
And one thing that I've found is the focused marking has actually helped, because it does actually make them go back to proofread their work with a partner. It makes them go back and look to see, okay, what were our successes, but at the same time, what are our next steps?
Millie, tell me something that you've done really well. Give me some of your successes.
I used adverbs, punctuation.
Tell me your next steps. What did you find you need to include next time?
Full stop and comma.
Well done. Fantastic.
Timing is everything, because there's no point in worrying about what they haven't achieved in year 6. If we keep on track, not just year by year, but term by term, and making sure that they make the expected level of progress, then there shouldn't be an issue in year 6.
If you can catch a child quickly as you see them fall off trajectory, I think that's infinitely preferable to letting them fall behind and then catch up, perhaps at the end of term or in the next time the catch-up lessons are on. So for me, intervention that's quick, timely, short and sharp works much better.